at 5, and this is our very exciting, very much anticipated conversation with Dr. Don Sturz from Westminster Kennel Club, talking about the journey back to Manhattan and to Madison Square Garden. And we're all very, very excited, and everybody has a ton of questions. So while everybody's hopping on, I've got a few things for the good of the order. I know some of you have heard this. I know not everyone has. We have here at Pure Dog Talk created what we like to call a spinoff. So after 8 years in the podcast universe of purebred dogs, the Marty and Laura show launched last week, which is Marty Greer and I talking to the average pet owner. And this is something that I feel, as you guys know, really, really strongly about, John Q. Public, and making sure that they have great information that isn't from Dr. Google. And so this is me and Marty doing that thing. So I'm very excited about that. It's available all the places you can find your podcast, the Marty and Laura Show. Check it out. Also for our patrons, or if you're not yet a patron, you should become one, because the Laura Unleashed podcast has started. And there might be some naughty words on it. So, it might be PG-13 or something. So be aware of that one. But other than that, some of our biggest news is that we're all going to be in Manhattan at Madison Square Garden in February in, like, what is it, exactly 1 month, isn't it, Dawn?
Of this store. Thanks for having me. You're literally 1 month away from that weekend.
To launch I was just looking at my ticket today. I'm like, it's only a month away. So you guys I'm really impressed. I have to just give Dawn and the entire Westminster Kennel Club crew a huge shout out. You guys have done above and beyond the videos, all the stuff that you've put out. So I'm really excited you're here to join us, but I think you guys are doing a great job, and people who have questions are going to get to ask you directly, but hopefully they've had a chance to see some of the work that you guys have done going in advance that I think is just really fantastic.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. The team, has put a lot of effort into, the planning. I mean, we've been working on this event for over a year. We started working on this 2025 event before we even finished the 2024 event. So, it's been percolating for a while, and we wanted to make sure that we could make people feel as comfortable as possible, and to kind of build on the excitement, but also calm some of the nerves and the anxiety with information. And so, the exhibitor orientation video, launched, and you can access that, through our website, which I think is probably the best place for anyone to go who has any questions, because we've done a lot in terms of trying to think of the kinds of questions people might have and be able to say, just go to the website. It's all there. So it's westminsterkennelclub.org. And I think that notion of being excited about returning to New York City, returning to the garden. It's such an important part of our history and our tradition. Right. But then also the excitement of being in a new venue as well, the Javits Center, which is this incredible, phenomenal facility. And I think the path that we've had to take, and we've talked about that before, of going from the piers in Madison Square Garden to Lyndhurst to the tennis center, and now finally back into Manhattan, and all of the pieces kind of coming together to make it possible for Westminster to come home for its 149th annual show, with next year being the 150th anniversary. So it had to come home, right? So it had to, and I'll be honest. I think I've shared this before, and that I think most of us thought that was never going to happen. That idea of Westminster back at Madison Square Garden had become a bit of a holy grail because of the lack of daytime venue options, in Manhattan, but It's happening.
Woo! There's some
Woo-hoo.
kind of champagne party happening somewhere. So
Yeah,
talk
exactly.
to us through the Javits. So
Okay.
there's a couple group of people here in our audience, right? There's the people that have never been to Westminster Kennel Club
Yeah.
at Manhattan, right? They're newer
Okay.
exhibitors or newer participants who are just this year going to get to come for the first time. So they have benching questions and shuttle questions and all those things. And then there's the more long-term exhibitors who maybe just don't have a clue about the Javits and kind of
Yeah.
that process. So
Sure.
let's walk through the Javits. I particularly was interested in the part where you get to walk up and down the escalator instead of having it move. So I'm like,
Yeah.
wait,
So, yeah, so I think one of the things that we looked at was this notion of um, the exhibitor journey, the spectator journey, the judge's journey, our sponsors' journey, our members' journey, because they're all different journeys for all of those different groups of people. And so when thinking about the exhibitor and dog journey, which is most important to us, it's what we prioritized in the planning, was what can we do to make it easier? It's obviously, every venue presents its challenges and so on, but what can we do to try to minimize some of that? And so one of the things, we wanted to do was have this two aspects for people to be able to unload and access. And so with the Javits Center, um, I just want to do a quick plug. I really have to say that I'm so appreciative of our presenting sponsor, Purina Pro
mhm.
Plan. They've been great partners for a very long time with Westminster and have made so much possible. And some of some of the things we'll talk about, I'll share that they've also helped bring some of those things to life for us. But the Javits Center, we wanted people to be able to come in through both the front entrance and through the loading dock. And so if you go to the website and you check out the exhibitor orientation video, it'll kind of give you the visual and you can see. But for those people who are coming in with personally owned or rented vehicles, can drive into
Mhm.
the loading dock off of 12th Avenue. It's at 40th
Okay.
Street. And the Javits security and site staff have been amazing in working out the plan of how they'll actually get everybody off of 12th Avenue. The vehicles will be staged indoors in the facility. You have to remember Javits spans from 34th Street to 40th Street. So just think of that, 6 blocks
Yes,
long,
that's
right? It's
huge.
huge.
That's
It's
huge.
immense. And so so you would be able to come in through that entrance with your vehicle. You'll be staged in this kind of serpentine situation, and then they
Mhm.
will push forward about 10 cars at a time. So 10 cars will come in, people will unload. As soon as people get unloaded, move out, and the next car gets pushed up. The distance is actually amazing in that once you've pulled into one of those parking spots, the distance from the ramp, from the car to the ramp, and the ramp to hall 1C, which is where the benching
Mhm.
is minimal. I mean, you're literally walking from your car up a short ramp, and you're in the hall where the benching
Nice,
is. So
nice.
that's a real easy way in. And we've got that accessible. Our weekend starts on Saturday with our Canine Celebration Day, with our Masters Agility Championship and our Masters Obedience. And we've got our demonstration ring with herding, scent work, freestyle obedience, our Dog Show 101. We're doing a human agility course this year to give people a chance to get to feel what feels like to run around the course.
I
Um,
love it.
and one of the things we're really excited about is we brought in a fly ball tournament, and if you haven't seen it, I mean, it's wild. I mean, it gets kind of noisy, but Saturday is our party day, so I wanted to
Yes.
kind of like let loose with it, and we weren't quite so sure how it would go, and initially engaging with our fly ball contacts. They were like, well, we'll see. And I don't know if we'll be able to get enough dogs to really make it a tournament. Maybe it'll be a demonstration. And I joked like, well, if you need 4 dogs to a team, and I'm like, well, I've got a bull terrier, Frenchie, and a peak. I just need one more, and I could be a team. So, but after it all said and done, we actually have 15 teams of 4 dogs each competing and a
Oh my
waiting
god.
list.
Oh my god,
So
that's amazing,
so
Don.
it went from being a
That's so
demonstration to a
cool.
full-blown flyball tournament. So that's going to be really cool.
Oh,
And I'm really appreciative to Premier and Pro Plan for actually making it possible for us to have our ring barriers that match the ring barriers in the agility ring. Because I
yeah.
mean, I'm kind of that guy. The visual is really important to me, and I was kind of driving the team crazy, and the superintendent, I'm like, we only have enough of these, and we have enough of those, and I'm like, no, they all have to be the same. And Purina Pro Plan came to the rescue, so that was great. Um,
All right, good job, Pro Plan.
so
Matchy matchy
yeah.
for the win.
So on that day, that Saturday is really a fun and exciting day, and so people can bring their dogs in if they're participating in those events through the loading dock, as I said, or they can come through the front entrance off of 11th Avenue. And the front entrance is actually the lower level entrance. It goes down to halls 1A, B, and C.
Okay.
1C will be where Canine Celebration is on Saturday, and you you have coming in there the shuttle buses that are running from the New Yorker Hotel, which will be running all day from 5:30 in the morning till the evening, um, and looping through. So if you missed one, there's another one coming shortly. And as they say in the video, the only caveat is if you're waiting for a shuttle and there's someone with a dog, dogs
Yes.
first. So
Always
if
first.
that bus gets filled up with exhibitors and dogs, you have to wait for the next one if you don't have a dog. So but we'll have that going, and those shuttle buses actually pull right up to that door, and you literally walk in the door, you walk across the lobby, it's a very short distance to, as you reference, what are typically escalators, and Javits, was being the wonderful partners that they've been, will be turning those escalators off, so they will function as stairs. And then there are also small passenger elevators. They're not freight elevators by any stretch, but if people did need, for accessibility reasons, there are
Really.
elevators just right around the corner of that area. So the those will literally, you walk down the stairs and you're literally in Hall 1C, which is where Canine Celebration is and where benching is. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
Saturday. And
Okay.
then, so now I think, for the dog show perspective, for the Monday, Tuesday event, Javits is where the breed judging will take place. And so we're making Javits available to our dog show competitors starting on Sunday afternoon. About 3 o'clock is when those doors open, I think, 3 or 4. I have to
Mhm.
go check the paperwork again, but we're trying to get people in as early as we can. And
Yeah.
basically, same thing, you can come in through the loading dock, but in order to do that, you have to have your hang tag. So if you're an exhibitor, you're going to receive from the superintendent that beautiful purple Westminster folder with the gold Sensation logo. And
Don't
inside that packet, you don't leave it home because you need the hang tag. Because if you don't have the hang tag, you cannot pull into Javits. The guys at the door, they just work at Javits, and they know to look for hang tags, and they've been given examples of the hang tags. And if you don't have one, not happening. So don't forget the packets. Once you're in, as I said, you pull in, you unload. We're going to have site control there, Westminster team there, lots of people there to help you, right? And to get in, and basically, it's a thing of unload, get your stuff to your bench, go park your car because there's a lot of people waiting behind you, and then come back and fuss and do and set up and do what you need to do.
Right.
The I think that's probably the biggest thing that I'll encourage is that people be mindful of
Yes.
their friends, right? That there's lots of people waiting to get in, and so be kind about that. And obviously, it would be great if you're traveling with somebody who can you drop you and your stuff and your dog and go park the car, right? That's the
Right.
optimal situation. But as for me, I often go to a dog show all by myself, so you're gonna have to wait for me. But
Well,
that
and
that's I think it'll be fine. I think you've got a lot of support there for people, so that'll
yeah.
work out.
And I think the handlers will understand that they have a limited amount of time. Get their dogs in, get the handler set up, and be done, right? So
Correct.
that I think is a really good segue into benching because I think, one of the things that's different about this, Dawn, is that it's been since 2020 since anybody had a bench show, certainly at
Yes.
Westminster.
Yes.
And so for a lot of new folks, benching is a concept that they know nothing about. And
Yeah.
so I mean, one of the questions I saw asked is, do you have to provide your own crate for the benching, or do they provide them? Right? Like
Yeah,
super basic level,
great
right?
question. Yes.
Of people
Yes.
not knowing the answers. So let's run
Yeah.
through benching.
Okay, great. I just want to, just reinforce that notion that people can unload on Sunday evening, afternoon, evening for the Monday event, and they can
Mhm.
also unload Monday evening for the Tuesday event. Okay, so
Right.
even though groups are going on at the garden, which
Mhm.
we'll talk about, if you're exhibiting at Javits on Tuesday, you could start unloading on Monday night. And I would actually encourage people to do that to the extent that they can, because it'll make your
100%.
morning so much easier to be able to just walk in with your dog and your tote bag or whatever.
Right.
And that same thing goes the front entrance. Shuttle
Yeah.
buses will drop you off at the front. Ubers, taxi cabs will drop you right off at the entrance. And also walking in, if you're staying at a hotel that's walkable distance and you just want to walk over with your dog, you can walk right in that entrance, bam, you're there. It's really quite simple. And so we tried to make all of those times available so that if people wanted to take their advantage of getting into the Javits Center, the evening before, they could. So that's there. So back to benching. So benching, I think, I do want to touch on, the importance of benching.
Mhm.
Obviously it has historical value to Westminster, and that is always the way it was, right? And back in the day, that's how dog shows were. And when I first started showing dogs, there were many bench shows, and one of the things about bench shows that I think um, it facilitates that just doesn't happen much anymore is people are kind of in a captive audience amongst themselves. And so you're having conversations with other exhibitors and other breeders of your breed because you're all in this same spot. In this case, for Westminster, 5 hours, which is nothing to compare to the way it was back in the old days. Okay,
Way back in the
so
day, man, that is not a thing.
right. So it's really not that bad, and it I think creates a wonderful opportunity for exhibitors and breeders to spend some time with each other and talk with each other and learn and work together as a community within the breed. I think it's also wonderful, and I think this is a responsibility for every dog club. Westminster Kennel Club is this big, huge, iconic media international event, but it is also the local New York City dog show, and I think clubs need to remember that they are a resource for their local community when it comes to promoting responsible dog ownership. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's another role that benching plays, in that spectators are coming in and they get to meet lots of people and lots of dogs and breeders and get educated, right,
Yes.
about these dogs, and talk with people who are knowledgeable. And very often that's where these relationships begin between a breeder and a new owner, is at a bench show event, right? And so I think there's that piece, and I think it brings the spectators in because they know they're going to get to see the breed they came to see, right? When they come to a typical dog show, they may not understand the judging program and the schedule, and then there's grooming tents and motorhomes, and they may come to the dog show to see a particular breed and not get to see a single one, right?
Right.
Or meet
They
a
came
single
at 9 o'clock
person,
and the Pekingese were at 8 o'clock, and you're never going to find a
and we're
Pekingese ever
gone,
again.
right? And so this, I think, is a wonderful opportunity that when they come on Monday, they know these are all the breeds that are going to be exhibited. And from morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you're going to see however many of that breed are competing that day, because they are going to be there all day, right? And so I think that's really, really great from an educational point of view, along with all of the activities. I think that's where the Canine Celebration Day is a great education piece for the community, because it shows all the different ways that you can celebrate things with your dog, and activities that people might not have thought about, the fun way to engage with your pet. So Westminster does lean into that, that its responsibility as an educational institution.
Mhm.
And so that to me is what benching is about. It does all of those things, right? There's a
Right.
purpose. It's intentional. And so we were very committed to bringing that back when we could.
Good.
We actually had thought about and tried to figure out a way to do it at the tennis center. There just wasn't enough room. So,
Yeah.
so we were really thrilled to be able to find a situation and to be at Javits that made us be able to bring that back to life.
Cool. We've got a couple questions, Dawn, and
Sure.
they're great questions. They're questions that I asked back in the day, a million years ago. It says that people have to be able to see the dogs in the crates. Does an impact crate work, for one? And can they bring chairs to their benching area? So those are just two right off the bat.
Yeah. So the crating to me is that's we don't get in the weeds over that except to say soft-sided crates are not allowable. Whatever you choose, right? Like if I had come and exhibited my miniature poodles, they would have been in Eastern metal crates with just the door opening, right? Like we're not so much about like, oh, they're on display as much as they're present so that somebody could walk by and say like, oh, could I see your dog? And it's fine to say like, no, my dog is resting, or whatever. But even for somebody to be like, well, can I ask you about them? Like, I'm interested in getting one. Do you know a breed? Like, that's what it's about, right? And some people are more comfortable with that public engagement than others, and there's nobody's walking around policing, like you're not engaging. You have to do what you feel comfortable with, but that's really what it's about. So whatever crates you choose to use, obviously reference the judging program because it gives the very specific dimensions of the benches. So make sure your crate, whatever kind of crate it is, other than a soft-sided crate, fits within the dimensions of that bench.
And that's a really good question that I saw again. It hasn't been asked here tonight, but I saw it referenced earlier. Talk to us about giant breeds because there are people that are going to come with Irish Wolfhounds and St. Bernards, and they're like, "But that's not big enough," So I know that I have personally witnessed over the years people with giant breeds who didn't have a crate; their dog just
Yes.
laid down on the bench. Yes.
Yep. Yes, yeah. Put a beautiful blanket down there and let them hang out and be the way they are at home, right? They're most of them are kind of just couch potatoes. So yeah, that's completely fine. They just have to be attended. They can obviously not be left unattended, right? I want to go back to the question about the chairs. Yeah, we
Yes. Yep.
we mapped out a specific amount of space in front of each bench to allow for a grooming table and a chair. And
Yep.
so use your judgment on what that means. We always do want to be, mindful of your neighbor, right, and mindful of the space you have to work within, and yeah, that's kind of how we
I
frame
think here's what I would say as someone who exhibited at Westminster Kennel Club back in the day when there was benching, and it's the space you've got. And so make good use of it. And you put stuff underneath and you put stuff on top
it.
of your
Yes,
crate.
yes,
Like, if you have a crate that is also a grooming table, Merry Christmas. Put your dog on the floor and in the crate, and you can then use the whole bench to have a nap in the afternoon when you're really exhausted. I've done it. And right?
yeah. So I think that we looked at this space, and it's actually for those people who went to the show at the piers. We actually have
Mhm.
wider aisles than we had at the piers, so we're really trying hard to to make it as comfortable as we can. Will it be perfect? Will there be lots of ideas of how it could be better? Absolutely, and we're going into it looking at it that way. This is we want this event to be great, but it's the first time at Javits for us, so it's
Mhm.
also a bit of a learning experience. We're
Mhm.
constantly looking at everything and poking holes in everything, and
Mhm.
I feel like I constantly have to remind the team. It's like we're doing that not to say somebody didn't do something right. We're trying to just make sure we've thought of everything, right? And
Right.
and so
And
um, so
my comment
that's
wasn't
been the
as a
process for us.
criticism, it was just an awareness, right? Like, having been there and done it, just know you're in a space and your space is confined and you don't get to, like, slop over into somebody else's because, trust me, all kinda HE double hell toothpicks is gonna break out if you, like,
Yeah,
squeech an inch into somebody else's space. So, like, be respectful, use your space wisely, don't be a piggy, and share nicely, right?
yeah, just be good neighbors, and also be good partners with Javits. And
Yeah.
I think that keep your space clean is really important. We obviously have Javits maintenance staff who are going to be there, and basically kind of put the edict out there as like I'm approaching this as if I'm in Disney World, right? When you walk around Disney World, you magically never see any garbage. Like that would be my ideal. And so even if we get close to it, but just know that we want to show Javits that we can do this and be respectful of the space. And so I think, everyone participating, if you want to continue to be able to have Westminster, in this
Yep.
venue, right, we have to show that we can, be respectful of the space and take good care of it, right? And part of
Yeah.
that is being mindful of your grooming space, right? If you've got, hair or chalk, whatever, just clean it up, put it in a bag, and that would be wonderful, right?
Yes.
And there'll be lots of, garbage receptacles all throughout the facility.
And
And so
another one for people that have never been, you don't get to go outside and exercise your dog necessarily, right?
Yeah, so let's
You're
talk. Let's talk about that. Yeah, once you're in, you're in. And
yeah.
so one of the things we did think about was wanting to make sure that there were plenty of X pens. So even in the planning and talking with the superintendent saying, "Well, we think based on the number you need this many," and we were like, "Well, then we'll take more," right? So we've got a large number of full size X pens. We've also got
Right.
P pens, which for people to understand,
Yep.
those are like kind of the low level surrounded space where you can walk in, let the dog lift their leg or squat and be done. And then
Yep.
I also wanted drop pens for the small,
Good.
longer coated breeds so that they don't have to be in the sawdust. And
Mhm.
so we tried to think of these are the kinds of things, right? We think, okay, as an exhibitor, what's going to matter? And so these are the kinds of things that we came up with. And so those will all be located on the loading dock. We again want to keep it, be mindful. We've got staff who are attending to that space and the sawdust. We're draping all of the sidewalls with plastic and wrapping the columns with plastic. And so we're asking that people be, very respectful of that as well. That if you're going to exercise your dog, you need to do it in those X pen areas. You can't just walk around the parking garage.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really important. And so somebody had a question. The benching areas, are they like the cubbies that they had back at the piers for agility crating? That's what I had when I was crated at the piers. They're like little wooden
Yes,
boxes.
it's exactly the same. Yes, they've been sitting in storage at MBF just waiting for Westminster to return.
Repainted nicely because it's dawn, and I promise you they've all been repainted.
They've got
Okay.
so many coats of paint on them by this point, after all the
Yes.
years.
It's true. The other question we had come through flooring. So, are we bringing the flooring that we had from the tennis center? I know your face. You're all excited. Tell us about it in the rings.
So another one of our partners that we were so excited about last year is Field Turf. They are the official turf provider for the Westminster Kennel Club, and they have joined us again this year. And all of the rings, both for Canine Celebration Day, the Masters Agility, and the breed competition at Javits, will all be the same exact turf that we had at the tennis center. And they will also be doing the big arena floor at Madison Square Garden. So,
Oh my
so
God.
we're really, really grateful for them. Yes.
Specifically, Christine. Good job, Natalie. That's full coverage. No matting takedown. It's the full ring. I love
Yes.
it. I love
Yeah.
it. Okay, so a
Yeah.
quick message from our sponsor, both of Pure Dog Talk and of Westminster Kennel Club. Pro Plan, remember that Westminster champions rely on genetics, nutrition, and training to take home their top awards, right? And when you're competing at this level, nutrition is one of the most important factors to consider in a dog's training and preparation. Fact, speaking from experience, Dawn does as well. It impacts their coat, their overall health, and gives them the energy they need to perform. So I think that's really important. And I love their stat that ProPlan now fuels 96 of the top 100 show dogs and 17 of the 18 last Westminster Best in Show winning dogs. Way to go,
Yes, that's
ProPlan.
true. Pretty amazing stats, right? And so
Isn't that
Purina Pro
incredible?
Plan
Yeah.
yeah, it is incredible, and they will be there. In addition to being our presenting sponsor, they will have their sponsor booth at Westminster. We have what we're referring to as the marketplace, and that is going to be in Hall 1A. And so in that marketplace will be the Westminster merch store. So get there early and
Mhm.
shop early because the stuff flies off the shelves
Trust me,
there.
I'm the
Um,
early.
You'll see, as I said, Purina Pro Plan. Another sponsor we're thrilled is returning is Cosequin, and they will be offering their exhibitor lounge, just like they had last year. So that will be right
Awesome.
next to the Westminster merch store. So everybody should
My
check
favorite
that out.
coffee cup to this day.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
see?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. A new sponsor partner for us is Zymox. They've joined the event, and we're thrilled to have them. They'll have a sponsor booth. Brevecto will be sponsoring our Ready Ring at MSG. We
Good.
also have a partnership that's kind of a fun partnership with Muck Boots. And so watch social media because there's going to be some stuff happening with people that you probably know and Muck Boots in Westminster. So I'll just leave it at that. But we're really, really excited about that
That
collaboration.
sounded
And
fun.
yeah, so it's really cool. And then Dog TV will be back as well. They will have their booth, and they've got some fun interactive kiosks planned that will be stationed throughout the marketplace. And then we've also brought back some vendors. We weren't able to have that at the tennis center because of space limitations, but we've brought back some of our old partners in the vendor world to join us back here, and so that'll make for some nice shopping. So definitely
And
make time to explore the marketplace, and then in Hall 1B, smack in the middle, is where the rings will be. And I think what's exciting about that is we have 10 rings this year for Westminster, and
wow.
the rings are a great size. They run 40 by 50 and 50 by 60, and so good size rings. We've also arranged for space to create sizable ready rings in
Mhm.
each of those ring areas because I think it's important for the exhibitors to be able to kind of get through the crowd and get to a space where they and the dog can breathe and collect themselves, before having to go in the ring, and we're going to really police that. So back to that thing about the packets. In that packet will be your exhibitor wristband. And your
Right.
exhibitor wristband is what's going to get you in the door. And it's also what's going to get you into the ready ring to go compete. And so, again,
Don't
don't forget the packet.
Well, I mean, speaking as someone who went to the garden when it was still all at MSG and had to
Yes.
basically carry my 80-pound Clumber Spaniel over my head to get
Hmm.
from the grooming, like literally over my head to get from the grooming ring or from the grooming area, the benching area to the ring. We love this. Just let me tell you how much we love this.
Well, just
And
like I said, we really try to think about the exhibitor
yeah,
experience, and
yeah,
and we'll
yeah.
look at it. We'll be watching it. Each of the entryways into those ready ring areas will be staffed, with Javits security, and they have been provided with all of the credentials that are allowed into that space, and we'll be policing it to make sure that there's nobody there that shouldn't be there. It's the exhibitors and the dogs first, and then if there's some space and I want to accommodate the photographers who work the show too and stuff, and I'm more than happy to have them in those ready ring areas at Javits. But if I need room for the dogs, then they're gonna have to step out till the class goes in
That's
the
right.
ring, okay? Because
That's right.
that's who's most important here, right? And so that's something we'll be watching is how does that flow? Did we get it right? Is it working? Because if it's not, then we want to be able to improve upon that, in the future.
Sure.
So
100%. And again, I love the full-size rings. Again, back in the day, showing an Irish
yeah,
Wolfhound and a
not so
Chihuahua.
much.
Okay, I just took 2 steps. Yay me.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
we have a
pretty cool.
question. Hi. Yes, the big size rings. You guys, do you have no idea? Just do your happy dance now. Samantha, um, Samantha says that she's bringing 2 dogs of the same breed owned by different people, so they didn't have to originally fill out benching forms. Is it too late to fill one out now so that they can have them benched next to each other? I would say yes, right? Because 'Cause they're different
I,
catalog
I would
numbers?
I would say yes because the numbers have been assigned. But the best thing to do in that case is to reach out to MBF. So if you email mbf2@infodog.com, they can answer that question as to whether or not that door has closed.
Yeah, okay. And can you use the bench for grooming? Mhm.
You could, yes, you
Yep.
could, yeah.
It depends what you have. If you're doing up a poodle, it's probably insufficient. If you're putting a face on a Boston Terrier, you're probably okay. I mean, it's what do you
Yeah.
consider your needs. and
Yes,
understand that your space is 2 to 3 feet wide by 3 to 4 feet long, and that's what you have. Period. End of
correct,
conversation.
correct.
Um, how are expectations different or similar for sport exhibitors? Okay, so on Saturday, then for confirmation regarding setup, crating, benching, all that. Are the Saturday exhibitors benched on?
Um, they are benched for the purpose of organization of space, but not benched as the confirmation dogs are with regards to a time frame. So the Saturday, the performance dogs can come and go throughout the day,
Mhm.
and the benches are there. One, so we were able to get a little bit of a jump on the turnover, right? Get some of the benches set up and in, and also
Yep.
creates, like I said, kind of an organized way for these dogs to be arranged and to wait their for their competitions and so on. So yes, there's benching for all of the performance dogs,
Perfect. And
but
can the agility
not with the mandatory time frame
right,
like
don't have
the
to stay
confirmation
all
dogs.
day and can't
Correct.
leave until,
Correct.
3:02 or 4:02 or whatever it is.
Correct.
The agility folks, can they set up on Friday?
No.
Okay, so agility people need to kind and all the
Come
sport
in
people need to
Saturday
come in Sat
morning. Yeah, Saturday morning. The doors open at 6 a.m.
okay, okay. So that's the answer to that one. What else do we got, Natalie? Anybody else out there in Facebook land with questions? So Don and I were laughing earlier while we're waiting for other questions. We were laughing about some of our memories of previous Westminsters in February in Manhattan that y'all haven't had to experience for the last few
Oh
years.
wow.
Um, and so I personally was telling someone the story about the year of the Great Blizzard that would have been like 2005, 6, somewhere in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I came with a pug dog and I came with a Clumber Spaniel, and I had it's always Valentine's or my birthday,
Yeah.
historically. And so I was sent flowers. My ex-husband sent flowers. The dog got into the flowers during dinner. There was some toxin in the flowers. She swelled up and looked like a hippopotamus. I mean, the drama that was involved with that and running from whatever. I think we were in the New Yorker that year to the garden trying to find the show vet to get Benadryl or prednisone or something to get this yeah, in the snow that was like just, so I'm saying, what are your
It's
favorite?
those things that create great stories, right? Those are part of the memories,
Yeah,
and I think that's one of the beautiful things about the dog show community is they're a very resilient crew, right? And no matter what they're thrown, they find a way, and
figure it out.
hopefully that won't be the case for us at Westminster this year. I've definitely been thinking positive thoughts. As I sit here in Brooklyn in New York City tonight with the temperature at 5 degrees,
Yeah,
it's very unusual, people. It's not usually that cold. We've had a very mild winter up till now, so I'm hoping this is an aberration.
yeah, we're doing the smiling gods of sunshine, although there was the year that we went to 3 restaurants because they were all closed because the water pipes froze,
Pipes burst.
so, yeah,
Yes.
that's great.
But we're gonna
Um,
we're gonna go with it's all gonna be amazing, and
40,
I think
the year that
that's
it was those were great.
one of the things that I think is important to note is from a creature comfort point of view in the Javits Center during the day is there's going to be a lot of food concession options, and
Yay,
probably one of the most important is there's literally a Starbucks in the lobby of the Javits Center, so you can start your day correct,
right,
and then there are going to be multiple food vendor options both in the hall and in the Javits Center proper. So
excellent.
that will be plentiful. The other thing is right across the street, across 11th Avenue and diagonally across is Hudson Yards, which is an amazing space. The vessel
Yeah,
is there. They've got
yeah,
restaurants, they've got stores, and so that would be a cool thing to explore if you had some time that you wanted to kill. That it's, like I say, literally across the street. So that's really neat.
mhm, mhm,
And if the weather is if the weather is nice, right, and the sun is out and you want to go for a really nice walk, the actually entrance to the High Line, which is basically a raised walk that features sculptures and indigenous vegetation, and it goes all the way from 34th Street down to 14th Street. And so that's
great.
a really cool walk on a nice day. And it's lit again
Well,
right across the street. So there's some things to do, right around that area. And then of course, New York City as a whole, offers
Yeah.
you anything you could possibly think of, from
Show
Broadway to
food. I
museums to
love
restaurants
food.
to whatever. So
Uh,
lots to do, lots to do. I wanted to touch base on two things in particular. One, we've talked about competing at Javits in the breed, and one of the things that has been wonderful for me to hear is just how excited people were just to be even able to come show. Right, that whole notion of getting in is part of the Westminster journey and magic, and so just that notion of being there and experiencing it is what people are excited about. And then, if you're lucky enough to have the dog that wins best of breed, your journey continues. And so best of breed winners receive a packet. And in that packet, and this is really important, is 4 credentials, which gets you into the unloading ramp at MSG, and then 2 tickets for exhibitor seating. So basically, the premise behind that is that every dog could have a party of 4. You can get on with your dog and your whatever you need for grooming, other than grooming tables, because we're providing Westminster grooming tables at Madison Square Garden,
It
so
is
you don't
a
have to
very
haul a table.
cool feature, I have to tell you guys.
Thank you, thank you. That's something Westminster has done, and we continue to do that. Those are Westminster-owned tables. They're not a gift, so don't walk away with them. But they're there waiting for you, and so that's pretty cool. But the shuttles will run from Javits starting around 3:30. The ramp will be open from 4 to 6 for dogs to unload to get into the expo center where the benching is for the group competitors, and then that door closes at 6 o'clock. So if you're not there by 6, we're back
You're
to
not
then you're not
sure.
getting in, right? There's no amount of foot stomping or crying that's going to get you in, because it's beyond us. It's going to be Madison Square Garden security staff who've been told nobody gets in after 6. So you got to play by the rules, but it'll be fun because it's very, very structured. And we worked very hard with Mossbo with the judging program and the scheduling. And if you looked at that so far, we were able to start Monday at 8:30 in the morning, which is nice. And Tuesday we
Nice.
don't start till 9 o'clock in the morning, which is unheard of
I
in dog
missed
show world.
that. That is
Yeah,
definitely unheard of. Certainly at
yeah.
Westminster. Like,
And
what?
most of the breed rings will be done between 3:30 and 4. So some end before that because we've got the 10 rings, right? So we can get more
Sure,
done in
yeah,
it, right? And
yeah.
so it should be not overly stressful, other than the stress and the excitement of having one best of breed and getting over to Madison Square Garden. If you want to take the shuttle, they'll pick you up right out front where we talked about the unloading was, where the shuttle buses are. And you'll get on the shuttle bus, they'll take you and your party of 4 people and your dog and your grooming stuff. And you'll be dropped off literally at the entrance to the ramp. And you'll go up the elevator and you'll be in and you'll be set. The 4 credentials were based on a premise of getting the handler in with the dog,
Right.
an assistant or a support person, and then 2 other people of their choosing. And then there are 2 tickets for seats because the handler's in the ring, so they don't need a seat. The
Right.
assistant or the support person is likely hanging out, right, and going to be
Yep.
watching,
Yep.
from the side. And then there were seats for the 2 additional party members. So if that works for you, great. If you have a party that has more people that need seats, then you're going to have to purchase them from Ticketmaster. And you can do that day. Like if you want to kind of say like, I don't know what's going to happen, but if we do win the breed, just know you can still purchase tickets immediately. Just go on the Westminster website, purchase tickets. You'll click on the tab. It'll take you right to the Ticketmaster site for the event. You buy your tickets and they're digital and you're set. You're good to go. So
Perfect.
I just wanted people to know that, and that the other thing just for people to be mindful is your exhibitor wristband, which gets you into Javits, does not get you access to Madison Square Garden. And so if you're an exhibitor during the day and you want to attend and watch the groups at night in Madison Square Garden, then you need to buy tickets through Ticketmaster because they're 2 completely separate venues and ticket purchase situations. So
Perfect. Okay, so we had a couple questions. One was about the agility walkthroughs on Saturday. Do you remember what time those happen to start off the top of your head?
I do not, but I know that all of the information for agility, I had just glanced through that with Paul Campanella, his judging program. So I know all of that's coming out soon.
Okay, so that will be up soon. The next one, we have a question. Hi, Joe. Joe says that he's showing a dog that lives with a co-owner, and she'll be getting the folder, right,
Hmm.
for the dog and arriving with the dog. I'm
Hmm.
arriving separately. What's my best course of action for arrival, and will I need a spectator ticket? You can answer that. I would say, as someone who showed a lot of other people's dogs, try and get with them at the hotel before you go over to the show site. That's my recommendation. What's your thoughts, Don?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I would want to connect with the co-owner because if the co-owner is the one receiving the packet, then the two exhibitor wristbands are in that packet. And so if you've got a one-person co-owner and you're covered, right? If that's not the case and you need additional tickets, you can again go to the Westminster website, click on tickets for Javits for Monday or Tuesday, whatever day you need, purchase the ticket,
Mhm.
and you know, and you're good to go. And it's digital, so it's like immediate. You get it, it'll be on your phone, and you walk in the door.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Okay. Hi, Vic. What size are the agility rings? And how close are the agility rings to the flyball competition? That's a good question.
Hmm. Yeah.
Flyball can be very noisy. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
They
Yes, it is.
on the
Yes.
yes, it
Yes, it
is.
is.
And that could have impact on agility. That's a really good question. What you got?
Yeah, and you know what? And we have considered that, and we're not sure how that's going to go. What I can say is that the agility ring is in Hall B, and flyball is in Hall C, and the halls are huge. We're also closing the air walls between Hall B and Hall C. So we're trying to minimize the impact of noise. But I think it's probably not going to be just flyball, but there's a lot of activity going on in
Yeah.
Hall C between the demo ring and the human agility course and so on. So there's a lot happening, and I think that's something that we'll be feeling that out as to how that works in the space. But
Right.
yeah.
Perfect. 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 Who else we got? Okay. Atomic Miniature American Shepherds. Hey guys, how late can we set up Sunday for
Mhm.
Monday competitors?
Midnight.
Midnight. That's what I thought they were
Yeah,
closing.
the doors will be open um, from 3 until midnight on Sunday night, and from 7 to midnight on Monday night for loading in
Okay.
for the next day.
Perfect. And can people sit on the benches? I have. I've slept on them.
I was again, it's how you use that space, right?
Right.
It's really, how you choose to maintain your dog and maintain your space and do what you need to do to compete and prepare and so on.
Barb, they are physically sturdy. It's like, isn't it like 3/4 inch plywood or something like that?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
the
they're
structures
very
of the
heavy.
benches, yeah, are very heavy duty. I would not want to be the person that had to put them up. Let's put it that way.
Which goes back to why we have half of them moving in on Saturday because it's just a big job to get these
It's
things in and
huge.
set up.
I just can't even imagine. But again, you guys, it's about, does your dog need a crate? Does your dog need to have a grooming crate, like a grooming top, East Coast or impact crate or something like that, right? Can the crate be on the floor as the grooming table and you have your stuff on the bench, or is the crate on the bench and your chairs? I mean, like, you'll figure it out. Just
Yes.
just just be aware that your space is limited. And I think more than anything else is that understanding. There's no sprawling here. You are literally restricted to the space you
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, the I think it just keeps coming back to just being mindful of your neighbors, and work together to make the space work, and know that as long as you're coming, if you're coming with friends and so on, and you need a little break, as long as somebody's staying and attending to the dog, there's lots of things to go and check out during the day, whether it's in the marketplace or in the food courts, or all of that sort of stuff. So Javits is a really, really wonderful venue in that way. And then Madison Square Garden at night, it's and I think I might have shared with you the last time I was there, the first time walking back in there, because we've done many, 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 many site visits at both venues since June of last year. And walking back in there, you forget the enormity of that space. I mean, there's a reason why it's called the world's most famous arena. And
Mhm.
when I think a lot of people are going to have a moment, when they walk in there, because there's so much history and so many emotions, connected to that arena and the Westminster Dog Show, that it can be overwhelming. I mean, I did get teary-eyed that first time walking in there, this year, and just a flood of memories, and feelings, and so we're really excited about that, and we want people to have that moment. We're really hoping that each individual walks away having that special moment of being back home at the garden. And for a few years I was cringing every time people were like, oh, the garden. I'm like, well, it's not the garden anymore. It's the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show. It's the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show, because we weren't there. We were at Lyndhurst, and then we were at the
Right.
tennis center. And it's so great to actually be able to say we're
The
back at
garden.
the garden.
Well, and you and I had this conversation, like, I don't know, maybe one of the first times we had a podcast about it. Like, I called it the garden, and you said, no, it's the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show. And I'm like, no, honey,
I
it
had
is the
I had my
garden.
market I had my marketing hat on. It was like, okay, we got to think about how we market this now, because now we're not there
Um,
anymore.
yeah, no,
But
it's hard.
all
I
good.
totally. Hey,
So
Larissa, quick, we've got one question, then I'm going to go back to you,
go ahead.
Don.
Good.
Tips for spectators. She's going to support one of her bread buys. So just as
Love it.
I'm going to the garden, like without a dog, what's your like top 3 tips?
Okay, so you'll be going. We've dedicated the entrances, so exhibitors only in entrance 1C, and then we have 1B is officials, stewards, judges, members, and so on, and then spectators into hall 1A, which will basically you'll arrive, you'll go down the escalators there, and you'll arrive in our marketplace. That's where you'll start your journey, and then you can move into the next hall where the rings are, and the next hall where the benching area is. And so it really depends on your situation. But if you're coming and having to buy a ticket, right? So if you're coming in as literally a spectator,
Mhm.
buy your ticket online. Like I said, go to westminsterkennelclub.org. Buy tickets there, take you right to the site for the Javits tickets during the day, and then you'll click on a different button for the Ticketmaster Madison Square Garden tickets for the evening. So I would say get the tickets, get the tickets sorted out so you don't have to think about that. Excuse me. So the one of the great things about coming in as a spectator is you can really walk in through the main lobby of Javits. You don't have to go to that lower level roadway. And it is, they refer to it as the Crystal Palace. It's really spectacular. And so I would encourage you to go through that entrance. That's where the Starbucks is, so you might as well. And
Okay.
then you walk in, you get the full effect of the architecture, and then you just walk down a set of stairs, and you're in the lobby for all of the halls, 1A, B, and C. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of support there. We're gonna have lots of signage and direction, finders and so on, and lots of support staff between site control and Westminster members and Westminster team members. Lots of people to help you out once you get there. But spectators will go through Hall 1A's entrance.
Perfect. And I would add as an extra tip, come in early, come in a day early, catch a Broadway show, go to a gallery, go to a museum, do something in New York City that you're not going to do anywhere else. That is one of
Agreed.
the things I would 1,000% say.
Make the time for it. Do your homework, right? Do your homework ahead of time. There's
Anything,
a lot of great shows, on Broadway right now, and check out restaurants, and map out your weekend ahead of time. Make your reservations, buy your tickets, and so this way, when you arrive, you're kind of all set. You know what you're doing, and you settle in and just have a really good time.
excellent. Okay, Brittany wants to know, hi Brittany, can we take photos of the dogs in competition?
Yes.
Just like pictures, take pictures of the dogs.
Yes, yes.
Yep,
Um,
100%.
the, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to run around policing people taking a picture of the dog in the ring with that. The difference would be, obviously, you can't take pictures of official photos, right? We have to be respectful of our official show photographers, so that would not be allowed, obviously. And then we have, lots of photographers who do work for publications and so on, and you'll see them, getting into the ready ring areas and so on, and they shoot from the photographer's area at MSG. But for for the individual, coming to the dog show for the day, taking casual shots with their phones, no one's going to have an issue with that.
Yeah. Tips for first timers with a dog. What do you got?
I want you to really enjoy yourself. Um, that's what's most
Yeah.
important. So I think in order to minimize the stress is to make as much time ahead as you can. So if you're able to come the night before, I think that would be the most important step forward in the right direction of having a very less stressful experience, right? So if you stay the night before, it means you can go over to Javits and unload your heavy equipment and all your stuff that you need to the night before. So in the morning, you're arriving with your dog. Dogs can stay overnight, but just so people know that they can. But the you know if you're me, my dog's my pet, they're going back to the hotel room with me. So, but it'll be a lot easier for you, right? If you're just arriving with your dog and say a tote, right? You're coming in as opposed to I'm coming in with the car, or I'm finding, the shuttle bus, or I'm gonna, and I'm bringing all my equipment, I'm bringing my crate, and I'm bringing, like, already your day is off to kind of a crazed, mindset.
Mhm.
So if you can make that happen for yourself, come the night before, unload your heavy stuff the night before, arrive early in the morning so you can kind of take it all in, right? Don't look at the judging program. At the benching, all the dogs on Monday and Tuesday have to be in by 11, but I would suggest don't do that, right? Like, just because you have judging at 2, I wouldn't say, well, I'll get there by 11. I would get there in the morning and get yourself settled, get your dog settled, get acclimated, go find where your ring is, go get a
And where the
Starbucks, take,
is.
yeah, the X pens, bathrooms,
Yeah.
all of that. Like, get acclimated, so get used to your space. So by the time you're ready to go in the ring and compete, you know the pathway, right? That's a good thing to do right out of the gate. Get your dog settled on the bench. You're in. Now figure out, how am I getting from my bench to my ring? Because you don't want to be figuring that out when you're literally trying to get to the ring, because you want to look for what's the closest um, exit way from the benching area into the ring area. We've created 3 main thoroughfares from the benching area into the ring area, and then the ready ring areas into the ring entrances. And so go take a look at that, walk it, figure it out, and then realize, okay, the crowd will build, throughout the
Yes.
day, and you're gonna have to navigate the traffic, right, to get to where you need to get to. Don't panic. This way you'll know your path. I would suggest that. Um,
Yes.
and at the end of the day, I'm bringing it back to you, but just like soak it all in. It's nothing like it. Especially the first time, your first time showing a dog at Westminster should be magical. That's what I wish
Yes.
for you.
Yes. 100%. And Lanley, hey, Lanley, as actually a really good question. We haven't talked handler benching yet.
Mhm.
She said that her handler has a bench on Tuesday, but that she's showing Lanelly's hound on Monday. And so I'm going to say, Lanelly, that probably what's happening is you're benching the dog with the breed rather than in handler benching, and the handler will come and get the dog from the bench. Yes?
Yes, if the dog wasn't entered as part of the handler's multi-breed um,
Right.
section, then you're exactly correct.
And
You know what, Laura? I wanted to talk about juniors, because
oh,
that that's like
yeah.
such a huge thing for both of us, right? And we have 99 juniors competing this year, which is awesome. And I'm really excited about the fact that we've got that number. And I don't know if you remember last year, because it was the 90th anniversary of junior showmanship. We had the celebration, and everybody had such a great
We're
time.
into it.
And so I said, let's do that again. That was fun. It's like, it doesn't have to be for a reason. Like, let's just do it. So again, Purina Pro Plan partnered with us, to offer our junior celebration, and that'll be both days, Monday and Tuesday, from 2 to 4. We have a whole room dedicated just to the junior lounge for this event. And
Nice.
and I don't want to spoil it. There's going to be a lot of cool things going on in that gathering. So all you kids out there that are coming to compete, one, congratulations. All of you, just soak it in and enjoy the magic, and feel proud of your accomplishment of even being able to come and compete there, because it's not easy. That's a lot of hard work during the year. excuse me, and make sure you make time to come to the junior celebrations each day.
Love it. Love it, love it. Gotta have my only other suggestion for people that are coming for their first time to Manhattan with a dog, very first time I came, figuring out how to exercise your dog in the city for people who are not from the city can be super challenging. I know that in years past, and I don't know, Dawn, maybe you can speak to it. The New Yorker has had an exercise room in the bottom floor. Are they doing that this year?
I don't know about that. I know the New
Okay.
Yorker has also been a great partner for us.
Yeah.
And I have heard mention of that, but I don't know that for sure. That's something that I would have to check.
Yeah. So that's a thing, that there are occasionally different hotels that will set up specific, for your dog to exercise. Otherwise, make sure you have your bags and that your dog knows how to poopy on a tree in a circle. Yes, that's what you've got.
It's a lot of cement. There are a number of parks in the area that are dog friendly and have dog runs and so on. So you might want to do your homework on that and see what's nearby, to access. Um, excuse me. I apologize for the coughing. I've been battling this respiratory thing that everybody's been dealing with, and I was doing really well up until about now. It's like
Well,
okay,
you've been talking for an hour, Dawn, so that's why. Okay, so real quick, Patty has a question. She said that she understands there's a quiet crating area on Saturday. Do we know where
yes.
this is and how it works to use that area?
Yeah, I know that this is specific to the agility competitors,
Mhm.
and so we've created an area that will have pipe and drape around it, and it's also in Hall 1C. It's at the opposite end of Hall 1C from things like the demo ring, fly ball, and so on. It's actually up near the obedience ring, which is also up at that far end.
Quieter. Okay,
Yep.
perfect. And okay, I think that's it. We have crashed through our 1 hour time frame, and we've made Dawn break into paroxysms of coughing. So I also have had the same crud, so I'm right there with you, babe. I'm so excited to see everyone there. Pure Dog Talk and I will be there. I will be floating around, mostly by the Purina booth, but I'll be around and about. So look forward to seeing everybody there, and I know you're all going to have a great time.
Yeah, thank you, Lauren, and thank you everybody for joining us tonight. And I'm so excited to see all of you at Westminster. If you see me there, come up and say hi. I'd love to meet you all and welcome you to our hometown dog show.
Love it. All right, Don, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for your time, babe.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.